So let's talk about the categories. I'm gonna maximize this window, zoom in on them, and first tell you these are my categories. I said it earlier, but I want to tell it to you again. It's not something we use in the world. They are drawn from experience. People ask questions, students ask questions, and I'm trying to answer them. Sometimes I succeed more than other times, and these are like the pillars I've created to make um, the pedagogical building we're all going to work around and talk about and so on. So I've actually categorized elements in a way here. Now I'm going to make an adjustment immediately, like that. But apart from that, I think everything is good. Because I've recently divided that part up, and you'll see this version that I'm showing you right now. That is the version you'll probably see. So we have document core elements. They're really about the overall structure, the backbone of the HTML document. And we have metadata, which is the thing you saw earlier. It would say something about the document, like names, and there could be descriptions. It could be who wrote it. It could be the viewport, how it's going to scale, what kind of characters you use, that kind of content. Then we have more structural, elements, like saying, for example, it's in here we have introductory content that introduces the user to something. These, or we have supplementary content, or we have content that is core. It's the main. It's really the most important part of content. So if we are like working with these kind of things, well, it's the document structure elements. And then we have kind of content section elements. So we need to divide our page into sections. Sections, I'm saying sections here, but it doesn't mean I'm going to use the element section. To really make the distinction here. Section elements, there are a couple of them. Like, for example, nav is a kind of sectioning element. And then we have article, aside, section. There is an element called section, so of course it's a sectioning element. What these all do is to kind of define what kind of element content is inside of them and how it relates to the rest of the page. If it could, and so, for example, if you organize content into a thematic grouping that define the architecture of the content, or maybe you have some kind of content that can stand by itself, doesn't really need the rest of your page to be understood. At that point, it's something else. It could be an article. It probably is an article at that point. You see, what kind of value does this have for the page? Not as the document structure, but as the content itself. The content itself, is it standing by itself? Does it read the rest of the page? Is this part something that I would merely put at something that tangentially related to the content of the page? You see a lot of things here. And it's usually the part where most students get confused. It's content sectioning elements. And then we have grouping elements. Well, it's really a wide thing. It's whenever you want to have any content whatsoever, you want to group it. That's a grouping element. There are a couple of elements that do this. I would say that all of the elements that appear, that they are categorized as content section element, are also grouping elements. But not all grouping elements are content section elements. So please listen to that again. All of these also are those. But all of those are not all of these, right? So we don't have the grouping elements, doesn't always have the sectional ability, the ability to section things. But all the sectioning elements have the grouping ability. Yeah, that's just confusing for you, but if you listen to it, it kind of, it makes sense. It's like if we talk about me and a worm, we have a worm, and this worm is worming around doing its business. I'm alive, and that worm is alive. We are both alive, so that's something we share. But that worm cannot jump. Maybe I'm old, but I can still jump. So I don't. I would say I have the I'm alive ability, but the worm does not have the I can jump ability. Okay, just to make a really weird comparison there. And then we have the text and content structuring elements. Yep. Of course, we need to take care of content and text, structure it like, headings and paragraphs and block quotes and, a lot of stuff. We have that, and we have things that take care of lists and detailed structuring elements. Lists are kind of detailed thing. You have tables, like, you see in Excel, which is really boring if you talk about Excel, but I love Excel. Maybe you love Excel as well, and I just said boring out of nowhere. And why did I do that? I love Excel. So if you don't, you might not like tables, but please reconsider, because tables are fun. Form elements. Forms, like if you sign in, log in, if you register, if you're applying for something, you usually fill in a form. There are a lot of elements that handles how forms are presented. And we have media and image elements. You already see the image, but there are a lot of other image elements like picture, and we have media elements like track or audio or video or, stuff like that. We have interactive elements, things that we click on or that we type in or that we you do a lot of things with. And then we have source or link elements. And of course, source and link elements, they could be media elements, because you have to have a source for where we can find the image. These two are the same. They're not the same, but they have elements that have both of these categories, right? So you see, there are a lot of things here. I want you to read this text. I don't just want to listen to this video because I've skipped the text, but please read these texts. They're going to be important for your future understanding in the next video. So let's just skip ahead and take the next video. And make sure, read the text before going there.